So here's the Sears 10XL project I've been working on. In my last video on this, I did some fabricating. I took the original Tecumseh mounted drive tensioner and I welded it to the tractor itself, so now it's independent. I had to cut off the original gas tank mount so then this engine would fit on it. So I test fitted this 6.5 horse engine, and I had to do some messing around with the drive belt. The position that I mounted this drive tensioner, I think the point where I forget what it's called, fulcrum maybe, I can't remember. The point where this thing pivots is a little bit higher than it should be, I think. So I actually probably should have put a spacer in between the top of this tensioner plate and the bottom of the stash. It would have brought it down a little bit, but that's okay. I messed around with this belt. I ended up drilling a new hole and I put the flat idler pulley back a little bit so then it misses the tensioner. But it still grinds a little bit putting it into gear, and I don't like that. So I'm going to be messing with that today. I want to make sure everything on this mechanically is good before I paint it. Just for fun, I got a smaller engine pulley. I'm going to leave the, I believe this is a 1/2 by 73 inch drive belt. I'm going to leave it on there and just throw on a smaller pulley on the engine, see if it makes any difference. And I have no problem going smaller because that's just going to increase the gear. It's going to increase the torque that this has. I'm going to lose a little bit of speed, but it's just going to be a little bit more torquey. So I sprayed this down a couple days ago with PB Blast. So I'm hoping that pulley comes off okay. I know it's kind of rusty. It's been on there a long time. So I'm going to do that. If I still have problems with the belt after mounting that, then I did get a belt that is an inch bigger. I got a Husky 1/2 by 74, which now I have a 72, a 73, and a 74, which is kind of funny. But honestly, it's not the belt that I need to worry about. It's really just the place that I mount the flat idler pulley in here. So I need to adjust it right, so then when you depress the clutch, it kind of like brings the belt off of the engine pulley, technically like disengaging, so then you can shift gears and not have any grinding. If this belt rubs on this engine pulley at all and the engine turns the belt over, then you're going to have grinding when you're changing gears. I've done this before. I mentioned in my last video that I have made a homemade drive tensioner before, and I remember I had these problems. So I need to address that for sure. I also have a throttle issue with this engine. This engine, I believe, is 13 years old. It was actually a Speeco, S-P-E-E-C-O, Speeco engine. Yeah, right there. That I had bought from Tractor Supply for $100 about 13 years ago. And the throttle's been goofed up on this and it's just falling apart. And I need to figure something out for this because that's full throttle and that's low idle. And you know, obviously it won't stay. And even tightening down this nut on here isn't doing anything. So I need to get some kind of throttle cable or something set up on there so you can idle it up or down when you're using it. I also have this international snowplow that I would like to get that custom built and mounted to this unit before I paint it. That way I work all the bugs out and it's ready to go. And I didn't get this on film and it kind of makes me mad. But this is the deck adjustment lever that came with this tractor. I have 2 mowing decks for this unit outside. And these are notorious for getting rusted. It's hard to show now because this is almost all the way off, but this handle right here was down to about there. And the way these work is there's a spring at the bottom and there is a little pin that would be sticking out, and you just push this down and then the pin would come out of the grooves, and then you could choose whatever height you wanted, and then when you let off on it the spring would push it up and it would push it back into one of these grooves and it would hold that height for you. But it was stuck in the down position, and for weeks I was messing with this. And for some reason, the other day I decided just to knock this pin out. And I took a pipe wrench and I started turning this. And it kind of broke all the rust loose. And then it ended up coming right off. And so now I can fix this, put this back on the tractor, and not only use this to attempt, which I hate mowing decks with this engine, but I was thinking I could use this deck adjustment lever to also adjust the height of the snowplow on the front. So we have that to work on. So one of the first things I wanted to do was try this new pulley. And I knew this old one was really rusty, and obviously the set screw doesn't want to come out. So I think I'm gonna have to apply some heat. Kind of sketchy with the gas tank right there. Of course, they don't have any good Allen wrenches anyway. At least none I can get good leverage on. Wow. And the camera was even on. What a miracle. Awesome. There wasn't a lot to grab onto on the back because the jaws are kind of big, but I might have to use heat again, I'm not sure. Just keep going, I don't know, see what happens. Well, I have this pulley all bent up, and it is not budging. So I've been, honestly, when it comes to PB Blaster or anything similar to that, I don't know if it really does anything. Because heat has always worked really well for me. But I've been putting this stuff on and letting it soak. So I took this, I don't know, 7/8 socket, old one that I have, an old 12 point. And I stuck it over there and I hit it with a hammer a few times. I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to mess up the crankshaft in there. But I actually did push the pulley inward. and the keyway is loose. I've been squirting a lot of that PB Blast in there. So it's been in there a while, but I'm kind of hoping maybe it'll come off now. What kind of operation do I have here? So I just applied like 5 minutes of heat right to that output shaft, and my gear puller is still only bending the grooves of the pulley. So I'm tired of messing with it, and I think I'm just gonna take extreme measures now to get that off. So you guys know I don't mess around. Got the old angle grinder out, and I kind of took a little bit of output shaft off, but it should come off now. Ooh, she's hot. Whoops. Alright, so here's the new pulley that I got. It's a couple hours of my life I'll never get back. Hopefully it even goes back on. I don't even know if I got the right size one. Wow. Yeah, I did a number on that output shaft. I'm gonna clean that up. I had somebody ask if I was a mechanic, or if I claimed to be a mechanic, and I said no. And what you just witnessed is why. I spent like the last 2 hours messing with this. And all I wanted to do was see if the smaller pulley would make the belt work a little better. I forgot to mention earlier that one reason I like having a small pulley on here is that in the past I've actually found metric bolts, and you stick it right there and it keeps your belt from coming off. It's actually kind of ingenious. Belt's disengaged the way it should be. Okay, now that I have a mess in here, I'm gonna clean up, and I'm gonna start getting that plow kind of figured out. And I guess since I have the angle grinders out already, I can start cutting pieces and get that kind of mocked up. And I'm going to put my deck adjustment lever on, because I might have to flip this thing onto the other side of that plow, so then my deck adjustment lever can go straight to the lifty deal on the plow, because you'll control it with the left side of the unit. I'll just show you.